Record already. I wanted to make a video just to sort of lay down a few thoughts I'm having in the moment, and started off by reserving the right to be mistaken. Reserve all rights to be mistaken and make mistakes. But I stand here in an honesty and integrity to speak to my current understanding. This last 10 days or so has been quite a stress, to say the least. My girlfriend got arrested August 25th. Was drug out of my van, out of the right side of the van, basically for not showing ID. It's going to be a little more expletive about it, but basically that's the what happened. I think that it stems from her own misinformation and incompetence to have established with the Supreme Court, or I know all these terms and the words and the etymology. I'm an avid study of things like this, so just reinterpret, forgive my use of certain words. But this court is, it's recognized as the supreme, highest court in the land. And if you think you have a civil rights discussion or case about your sovereignty, then you should be able to easily have the Supreme Court to put their stamp of approval. And of course everybody's going to argue, not everybody, but we don't need them as corporation and da da da. Well, that is the authority that the men and women with guns who call themselves police officers will divert to and refer to. For example, if you possessed an ambassador identification, you could commit a slew of crimes, and upon showing that ID, you might be just like, oh, well, have a nice day, sir. Well, it's nothing we can do, or it's not our jurisdiction. Say what? Just because of your little piece of plastic that's approved by the fucking corporations. Now, I don't know that for exact fact. I haven't fully researched on ambassador thing, but I've heard that many years ago about being an ambassador. They have near immunity, or at least quite an extent more power than the common folk that just have a driver's license. So God, there's so many thoughts just I've just a minute ago, I'm talking to myself really with throwing a stick with a dog, and thinking about the legal person thing and the whole sovereignty movement. There's so much misinformation, and I think a lot of it controlled opposition and designed this way in order to put this misinformation out for us would-be truth seekers. We're truth seekers. We want the truth, right? No shit. So we come on this information, and we build this belief system, basically founded on misinformation, which is erroneous. The name itself is not the linchpin for this whole scheme. The name is just a title that we are given right of use by God, really, and the divine. It's just a title. It's not something to be feared. I mean, I've been years on this. Many years ago, was into the whole legal name fraud game and talking about it, thinking about it, and just this week really it's come to my further understanding of, well, you know what, we actually need the legal person name in order to do business or to speak to any court or like I said, do any kind of business. You want to have a bank and you want to go buy something that you need. I mean, you need money, of course, and to get that you need some kind of job. Of course, there's the under the table and workarounds and stuff and struggles and stuff, but anytime it comes to an official purpose, like you get arrested and you need to speak to the court, well, the court only hears these documents, and pretty much it's a dead language. That's why it's all in Latin. They are a corpse oration, the speaking of the dead, the orations of the dead. So the legal person is the tool that is used to interface with these other living men and entities that are assuming a role and a job description, and they have obligations and duties to do their agreements, to honor their agreements, and that's where it's coming around full circle here. As I understand, the hierarchy of operation is the law. It's just the law. It's basically I mean, there's I'm not sure if I could really define even what that is, because the law is basically God or Creator. It's just an inherent right we have to use of the land, and that's where the law, old ancient English law and the Act of Settlements of 1701 started. Basically, it is concerning the rights of use of land, and defines various parameters of what, the actions of men, or it seeks to govern the things of man. The next step is evidence or equity, and that's where your agreement is disputed on, or like say you dishonor an agreement. That's you. By making the agreement, you entered into equity, which is the law of evidence and fact. The truth is, there's a law. You have inherent rights. You were given breath in the body by Creator. You have your right of choice. You could think of it as natural law, so to speak, which there's really there's no written law in nature. It's just, it is what it is, and this is how things work, and you either accept it or fight against it. And well, so anyway, there's law, evidence, and opinion. And unfortunately, most of us operate in opinion. We're reading our belief system from our mind. It's like reading a Harry Potter book and talking about the magic spells that he makes and what's done that and the other. It's an opinion. It's certainly fact, maybe, that's based on some facts, but essentially it is your opinion. And I just made a post today, opinions like assholes, everybody has one, but its purpose is to eliminate shit. So flush the toilet, cover the hole, it belongs to the earth now. Don't hold on to your opinions, because you'll get constipated. Let the energy flow. Adapt and change to the ever-changing environment, otherwise you will perish for lack of knowledge. Where do I go next? I didn't even write any notes. I just started this video spontaneously. Legal person. This is one whole thing we could talk for hours on, I'm sure. It's just a tool. So, I'm learning this week about all kinds of things in law and how the system operates. And yes, it's just enraging and atrocious, and you can call it all kinds of expletives. But it's the way it is. What are you going to do against the military and other, uniformed men and women with guns? You don't argue facts and law on the street with men with guns. Big piece of advice right there. You could ask questions. I mean, there's no crime in asking questions. Certainly, you got to ask the right questions. And, technically, honestly, if you're suspected of a crime or something, then some big major questions are in order. If you are innocent and you did not commit a crime or intending to, then questions. Asking forgiveness. So you ask for this forgiveness for information to give, for them to give you. I'm not informed of what's this, what's the nature and cause. You suspecting a crime, please articulate to me your suspicion, because we need to first clear that up. I know the purities of my intentions, and I do not want to be suspected of a crime. This is absurd. So please do some discovery here and some proper police work, and let's verify. And that was our predicament. We were in front of an elementary school. I was there obtaining raw milk from a car that's owned by the teacher, parked in front of the school. I have a herd share, which they were there by permission and under request even, to get the milk. But we're in front of an elementary school, and they're paranoid over shooting and stuff, and all these false flag and horse shit. So we got questioned. What are you doing here? To a couple of hippies in a white van. Why are you here? I told her, I'm just here to get milk. So the car was locked. I'm trying to text the teacher right now. Oh, what's your ID then? It's whoa, wait a minute now. This is I could show you the text. Let's report to the principal's office. What is your suspicion now? Do you see the jars on the ground out there? That's some evidence, Put little things, do some police work here. Let's not go accusing people, innocent people, of crimes, and start asking for ID and stuff. That would have been the appropriate response. But then, as soon as she asked for ID, it sort of got nervous and, oh shit. The first words out of my girlfriend's mouth was, "That's none of your business." What the fuck? How dare you? This woman with the gun, this female officer, it's like, blah, 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 blah. So it just started this battle of wills, basically, two female rivalry kind of stuff. My girlfriend can be rather stubborn. So, the battle of words, and things began. The officer pulled her taser gun out, demanding she get out of the. She was in the right side of my van. So, they opened the door, pulled her out, handcuffed her, took her to jail. She spent the last 10 days in jail because we don't want to bail her out. There's another whole thing. I mean, that's entering into another contract. And what if some warrant from 18 years ago is still valid and from California. So there was all these concerns and scuffles or not scuffles, but going back and forth over this assumption because, well, they, we give them the money and they won't let her go, and we're contracting with this bond and proving that it's valid to begin with. It's like, so we scrambled with that back and forth a couple of days, and then came back to it again a few days later, and it was like, we should have just done the bond. And oh my God, oh my God. I can't smoke enough tobacco, man, I tell you. So we also should have hired an attorney, really. I mean, it's such small beans. I mean, it's just absurd. The whole thing is just so absurd. That's all I could think to say too on that day when I'm filming. I started the video late and I'm filming it. I was like, this is ridiculous. This is absurd. It's like, what else? Could you say something else? Maybe ask some questions, perhaps. I'm tossing and turning, fucking. Still, just even last night I was up till 2 a.m. Got up 2 or 3 times to smoke another cigarette so I can drink some water. I'm like, fuck. Should have said. Should have just asked. Show her my texts. Here's my herd share agreement. I mean, how much more evidence do you need to know that I'm here for a reason? I'll be gone and I'm, shit, car's locked, I can't get out. I have to come back at 4:30 or meet her later. See y'all later. Be on my way. Anyway, I'm getting off on different tangents here and also mixing it with, and that's another thing. See, we and I want to say about law and our procedure, our incompetent procedures, is we're commingling our idea and belief system of what law that we have. We're given dominion. I have breath. I live and breathe. I'm a man. I'm not a name. That's just a symbol. It's a title that I've been given. I've been issued. My mom called me that. I've been issued this by the powers that shouldn't be. Maybe we could say. Been issued this title to be identified with. Another word we could go off. Identified. Identity. It's just a piece of plastic. The officer was holding up my license later. You can see in that video. She's holding up my license. Is this you? Is this you? She asked me like twice or so. I'm like, no, that's a piece of plastic. I'm a man here standing in front of you. It's like, I wanted to laugh, really. That's a piece of plastic. You're pointing at a piece of plastic with my photo, and it's got this name in all caps. That's my title. I have right of use for that name. Mine. Anybody else uses it, it's an arrestable offense. You're violating copyright it's copyright infringement. Point blank. It's my name. I was issued. I'm not a name any more than this table is the name table. It's a platform that we call a table that is fucking like a pencil or a lighter. It's a tool to use to start a fire or to write a thing. This table holds my book or my plate of food I can eat on. That's what a name is. It's not a bad thing. It's just a title. It's a symbol. It's a thing that we can use to call reference to something. This book, this phone, the mouse, my tobacco thing, whatever. It's like your coat. Give me my coat. It's just a tool we use to interface with the world in our language format. So that's kind of just one of these key issues that I see in the freedom movement, particularly about the name. And I'm not discounting the info on that. I'm just saying that it's commingled with misinformation, and we pin that, being like the linchpin that, that's the devil, the name, we got to get rid of the name. Well, what are we going to call you? How do we make reference to you or call your attention if there's not a name that you agreed upon, it's your agreement, evidenced by the fact you continue to be answer to that name and say, okay, yeah, you're referring to me. You've used the symbol that symbolizes me. And our right of use of that name, it's exclusive. We have exclusive right of use to that name. It's property that we've been given right of use. Anyway, what's next? Let me see. 20 minutes. So if this is a big thing. If we think we have a case to be excluded from the jurisdiction, this is another huge issue, because all the courts operate on a jurisdiction. That's the first thing that must be established, and most of the time it's presumed. Just the evidence, the fact that you're there. It's like the evidence and the fact that you're in jail is evidence that you're evidently not competent to stay out of jail, because you don't have the approval of the authorities they recognize, Supreme Court namely. If you have a case for your sovereignty, bring it to the Supreme Court. That's where those matters are here. Jurisdiction. If you go into a civil county municipal court that's already under presumed jurisdiction, they're just there to hear matters, of equity, basically. Okay, police say you did this. Here's the bond. First hearing. Then the second one, okay, police charged, they made this file, and we got your charges. Here's the charges, How do you plead? All along this way, every step is more evidence that they have jurisdiction. They're exercising that. They're trying to give you remedy. I know it sounds backwards that they're trying to help you, but they are. They have duties and obligations to find a remedy. There's been an agreement. There's been a dishonor of that agreement. Okay, now let's discover the facts and find out, okay, the charges. Here's, the police said you did this, and well, what say ye? That's all equity. We're gonna debate the facts. That goes to trial. We get tried by jurors. This is all equity and discussing of evidence and facts. Of course, they'll hear opinion, but that's the lowest form of the authority, is your opinion. They get expert opinion, of course. That has weight, and it's considered. But it's recognized as just opinion. It's expert opinion. And then, we lay the facts on the bench or the table, and the judge, that's been given duties and obligations to decide on the matter, says, okay, well, here's all the rights. Well, here's the rights, and then here's the right and wrongs going on. The law obviously recognizes our rights. We have inherent right to breathe, I think, or I don't even, I'm not sure how to define those rights, but it's for us to actually assert and honor. This is another thing, is to honor the agreements we make. And if we don't honor that, then it goes into this equity and evidence and contracts and stuff that we've made, a breach of contract. Okay, well, he's this, that, and the other, and we discuss facts. It's all equity. I'm sorry. I was just different tangents and so many thoughts racing through my head this week. I'm really actually kind of burnt out right now. I'm just like, oh my God. It's so scary, a lot of times, because my girlfriend is suffering in deplorable conditions. They purposely make jails to such a lousy hotel that you never want to go back there again. I mean, it's like they do everything to discourage their customers, and they get paid handsomely for it. It's just a meat market of fucking. They treat you guilty until proven innocent. I mean, if you're in jail, then you must be guilty. So, anyway, I don't know. I think I'll end this 25 minutes. There's so much more to be said. It's unbelievable. Next one. Love y'all.